Okay, so once you run the program, so you see, because you have your cement, sorry, the cement is among the requested things, so you have your cement, you have your sand. So you cannot have this if you are using if and else statement. You can never have a flexibility to write this kind of situation. So that is why if statement come into play. So so that means because sometimes if maybe a certain condition is met, for example, maybe if we are writing it using uh, uh, if an ellipse statement, if ellipse else statement, once the statement is found in this list, this line will execute, but the remaining part of the code will not execute because once a certain condition is met, the Python will stop executing the rest of the code of the block. So that's the reason why you have to use if statement here. So okay, let's assume here. Here they requested mushroom, extra cheese, and green peppers. So if mushroom is among the requested topping, they say adding mushrooms, okay? So because the mushroom is among, that's why we have this one, adding mushroom. That means this place is executed. Then if the pepperoni is among this, please print adding pepperoni. So pepperoni is not there. So that is why we don't have it here. So pepperoni is not among the repeated toppings, okay? So we have extra cheese. So if extra cheese is among the requested toppings, so we need extra cheese. So here we have extra cheese, okay? So then at the end of the day, we can have print making your pizza. So we have print making. This backslash, let me show you something. This backslash is n. It's telling the pattern, please move to the next line. Okay, that's why we have empty space here. If I want to move it, I can remove this one. I can move it something like this. I can run the program. You see, we don't have such. So that I have backspace. So I just want to separate the finishing line with the rest of the code. That's why I run it like this. So we have the space here. So maybe if we want to have the same program using if elif else block, so look at how the program will look like. So we have if the mushroom is among the president, please add a mushroom. Elif pepperon is among the president, adding elif this one. So look at here. So once you run the program, so look at adding mushroom. The reason is that we have only this is that once the Python find the mushroom among the requested toppings, then it will print this adding mushroom. But the pattern will not go down to the rest of the code. I told you before. In if and leave else statement, the pattern is looking for the conditions to made that is made. Once the condition is satisfied or is true, then it will execute the code and without going deeper to the rest of the code. So once this condition is met, then it executes the next line. Do you understand? But it should not go down toward to a leave and else part of the code. So that is. So so in summary, if you want one block of code to run, use if elif else statement. So if you want to have only one block to run, that means only if a certain condition is met, please consider this. Otherwise, consider this. So you want to perform only a single operations, okay? So you can use if else statement. But for more than one block of code, you need to run a series of independent if statements, just like how we did that one here. So you can also use if statement with a list. You can use it for maybe a checking of, for example, you can check whether a certain element is there in a list. Do you understand? For example, let's assume, let's call it attendance, okay? Attendance, okay? Let us write attendance here. I have Bash here. Bash is there. I don't know the Anas is there. Maybe we have Oga Ali.
Yes, I'm here, sir.
Okay. And then uh, what next? The real, let me say the real here. And
HP.
we have the key, yeah. And we have Abba, okay. And then I think we have, I don't know whether Abdullahi is there. Let me say Shanga. Okay. So let's assume this is the let's assume this is the attendance. Okay. So if maybe I can check for a special item here, and I can also use to maybe print people, or let's say attendance are here. For example, I can use for maybe name here in attendance. Attendance here. Yeah, something like this. So I can have here. So print. Okay, now look at here. Let me stop here. So I want to print only the name. Let's assume this list. Let's assume this list is because I can declare an empty list, something like empty list attendance empty. I can declare attendance like this, attendance as empty list, just like this one. I can prompt you. I can give you a prompt with an input so that all of you can write your name in the attendance as a list. So if maybe you are finished, if I want to print the names of those who are available, so I can use this one for name in attendance. Then I can have maybe let me use this one. Let's say hello. Yeah. Oh, sorry. Let me not something like this one. Let me use something like sir. I am here. Sir, I am. Okay, something like this. Say I'm here. Then you have your name. So that means when I run this program, let me check. The name has to be in also in title. In title. Okay. So once I run this program, so the first thing is that I can have Bash here. Bash will say, sir, I'm here. Then let me show you the program. Okay. So I can have the first thing I have Bash, sir, I'm here. Anna, sir, I am here. Something like this one. So you can use if statement to check forward presence. Okay. So let me use something like let me show you something so that you understand much better. Okay. So let me show you something like okay, let me change this one here. Okay, let me copy it here. Mm, okay, let me copy it here. Let me use this please. Okay, so instead of here, let me change it here to student. Okay, student. Okay, so okay, this has to be changed into student. Yeah, let me change it to student. Okay, so let's assume what I want to. Let's assume I have another list here. Let's assume these are the names of all the students. Okay, let me add another ones here. I can have I have Namzi. I can have Mokule. I can have Observer. Okay, so Let's assume I have attendance because not I know that not all of you will be available, so I can have attendance. The attendance, have let me have only these people as the attendance. Okay. So now, what I want Python to do for me is that I want Python to filter because what Python I want Python to do it is I want Python to consider all this name of student. Okay, I want them to consider them and I want them to compare it with this one and tell me the one that are present and the one that are absent. Okay, so let me create another one. Another call. Let me call it presence. Okay. Uh, let me call it attendance. Okay. Let me call it my list. Let me call it my list. Okay. My list. Something like this. And let me declare it as an empty list. As an empty list. I'm going to build it. Okay. Okay. So now for name in names. So what this line is telling you is that I want to go into this. I want Python to filter this, to go into this. Okay. So if name, consider it, look at it. So if name, because Python will now consider this bash as the first element. So if now bash is in attendance here, okay. So let me run the program. So I want bash to be append in this list. Let me call it my list dot append name. And do you understand? So so I can have maybe mm, no, not this. So I can have something like print, let's say names of, let's say, those who attend the class. Okay, let me call attend the class. Okay. So I can have for name in my list, let's say print name title. Okay. Okay. So look at the output. So this is basically what if statement is. So I'm just what I did is I have here, these are the names of all our students. Here are the attendance. Okay. I told you before I can have this attendance. I can declare an empty list and I can give you a prompt so that you all write your name. And maybe you can do that one next time. So I have here. So I create a list. So once the Python compare your name and it's inside attendance. So please Python write the name in my list. Okay, that's why this one come into play. My list. Okay, so after all the names are appended here, so I want Python to print the names of those who attend the class. That I want you to print this line. Okay, so I now go into a follow for name in my list. So please Python go into my list, uh, print the name in title one after another. So that's why I have Bash, Anas, Ali, Zarewa, Zaki, Alba, Shinga. So basically, this is used to check the presence of a special item in a list. You can check whether a certain value is available or not in a list. So this one is very, very useful. Sometimes you can use it whenever you are maybe I don't want to go into another thing, but maybe you are developing a machine learning model and you can check for an outlier. An outlier uh, is a kind of value that are rare to found. For example, like maybe you have maybe using maybe 1:2:4 uh, uh mixed ratio. It's hardly to have a strength greater than 20 Newton per millimeter square. That's normally the range of the strength. But maybe there will be an instance, maybe because of the weather conditions, maybe because of some certain instances. So you can have maybe a higher strength. For example, like maybe a 30, just like an incident, something accidental happens. Okay, so you got this one. Maybe because of the machine failure or because of something. So these are what you call an outlier. So the results that you are not expecting them, but they occur in your result. Okay, so these are outliers. So you cannot you cannot train your machine learning model with this kind of values. You cannot train machine learning because these are uh, they are not common values. You cannot find them in rare cases. So they are regarded as what you call noise. So because the machine learning will now try to understand how they develop. So when they are making predictions, so they will consider these problems, and they make they will not make your model to be robust. So that's why this values has to be removed. So you can check your values using the if statement also to check for an outlier. That's basically what I'm trying to say here. And you can use using an interpreter range to check for the outlier also. Okay, so we'll talk about that one maybe in detail. Okay, but there'll be a situation whereby you can have let me give you an example. Okay, let me come here. Okay, let me explain it so that maybe not so because we have run almost an hour. Let me explain it here and call it ready. Okay. Um. Okay. What's what this statement is telling you is that here you can check for a list whether the list is empty or not. I told you before, if statement can be used in a list to check for either a special item or you want to check whether the list is empty or not. Initially, we saw how to check whether an item is available in the list or not. Okay, so now we are going to check whether the list is empty or not. Okay, so now let me explain this one. So now look at here. These are the available tokens. Okay, these are the requested tokens. Let me give an example. Let me say we have concrete. Okay, let me say concrete. Say concrete ingredients. Okay, ingredients, something like this. Okay, so we can have requested ingredient. Okay, so now what I'm trying to say here is that I want to check whether this requested ingredient is empty or not. Okay, assuming I don't know these values. Let me run it. Let me show you something so that you understand it much better. Okay, look at here. I've already declared this. I've already run this one in a differential. Let me come to another differential. So let me write it. Assuming, assuming I don't know this. assuming I don't know whether this requested ingredient are empty or not. So I want to check now, okay? I want to check the ingredient inside it, okay? So I can have four. So for requested topping, so now I want to check this one, okay? I want to go into a folder here. Okay, so let me explain here. So I want to go into this ingredient using polyf. This polyf will enable me to go inside the list, right? So the polyf will give me a chance to check for this one. I'm going into an requested ingredient. So I'm going to what? I'm going to compare it with the concrete ingredient. I hope you are getting. So please, are you following? I don't know that I'm making things very hard for you.
Yes, we are following.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So what I'm trying to explain here, even though this is the last part, so what I'm trying to say here is that I want to check whether this requested ingredient is empty or not. So once I have this, let me check for requested ingredient. So if this ingredient is in the concrete ingredient, so you can print it. So otherwise you can have we don't have it. Okay. So when you run it, you have you have adding water, adding sand, and maybe we requested another thing that are not inside the concrete. For example, here, look at here. We requested a steel, and steel is not available in the concrete. So that's why here we don't have a steel. So basically, this is what we did here, and we have something like okay. So now this is what I want to uh, tell you here. So let's assume you have a requested tokens here as empty. So now look here. Look. So if requested tokens, you have this column. It means these conditions here, the fighter will not execute this place. This place will only execute if there will be a value inside this. So now what this statement, if requested tokens, we have your column here. This one, only this statement. We are telling the Python if there is anything inside requested topics. That means if requested topic is not empty. So please go into a folder and print the item inside the requested topics. Okay? But what if it's empty? Then please execute this. Are you sure you want a plain pizza? So when you run the program, you have this. Let's assume I don't want to have this one. Doesn't let me have it hashed. Okay. So once I run it here, so because the requested topic is empty. So look at that's why here it execute only this place. Otherwise, maybe I can change this place to I can have another thing here, just like this one. Okay. If I run it here, then you will see the names of these things one after another. Let me run it. So you see, adding mushroom, adding this one, adding this one. But I want it to be an empty. So what is an empty? So you have your things here. So when you run it, you have your things. Okay. So any question? Is there any question?
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.